Hi, everyone. I'm Mac, the Gray Skeptic, and I'm here with Suris The Skeptic. We're here for another Atheist Flashbacks to go through some of Suris's old non-denominational beliefs. Suris, would you like to introduce yourself and your channel?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
We'll move right along then.
So, my name is Suris. I actually have a skeptic channel. I say actually as if that's news. It's totally not. I'm terrible at introducing myself, but that's what I make everybody else do on my channel. So what the hell is wrong with me? So I do content addressing what I primarily try to focus on is bad ideas, whether those bad ideas be inherently religious or woo, like people drinking their own urine, or if it's somebody like Steven Anderson who advocates for slaughtering of a minority group. Anytime I see bad ideas like that, I desperately want to knock them out of the park and show how they're horrible, even if it's something as benign as Dr. Zakir, however you pronounce his name, saying you can't eat bacon because of bunk science.
My parents actually don't eat pork because of biblical reasons, but that's my fault because I didn't really like pork growing up. And then I found in the Bible that you were supposed to eat it. It was like, oh, hey, look at this. So I didn't have to eat it anymore. And they're like, all right, whatever, Mac. And then soon after, they're like, oh, wait, it does say that. And then they stopped eating pork and they still don't. So now whenever I go over there, I don't get real bacon.
Even though it's all it's pretty much just in the Pentateuch. Yeah. And the Pentateuch is considered Old Covenant.
Mm-hmm.
Levitical law and all that fun stuff,
Yeah, I brought that up too, but so people will go with the parts of the Bible that they will go with. So
yeah, it's true. It's true. That's how you have so many different denominations.
Yep.
Yeah, the Pentecostals who are just like, man, those extra verses in Matthew that were not included before. Let's retroactively put those in so we can mess with snakes.
Snakes. I love like I think I bring it up more often than I should, but I'm not sure if you watch Godless Engineers podcast with Caitlin Chloe, the Bible study.
I do not watch his Bible study because there's too many Bible studies to watch in our community now.
There's so many. I try and keep up with theirs though, and one of the last ones I saw was where it had the statue of a snake. I think it's in Numbers, and
the snake on the pole.
Yeah, and then they just go into well, if you didn't want a snake up your ass, and you shouldn't look at the snake. But then the only way to stop the snakes from going up their asses, figuratively speaking, was look at another snake.
If you don't want a snake up your ass, don't be friends with the godless Iowan.
That too. Damn strong man. All right. Well, I'm ready to jump right into this.
I'm already drinking preemptively.
There we go. Well, perfect. Because the first question I always like to ask is, as a Christian, a non-denominational Christian, do you drink?
I did not drink as a Christian, and I don't drink now. This is actually just tea. This giant thermos is just sweet tea.
Sweet tea. Awesome. Well, as you guys will see in one of my next videos, I also drink tea, but I drink peace tea.
You're one of those.
Oh, I'm one of them.
That denomination of atheist. We don't like that group.
Oh, man. Well, I mean, I'm pretty much just the worst. You'll probably figure that out by the end of the stream. But
oh, that's fair.
All right. Well, actually, before I forget real quick, before we dive too far in, I'm really bad at keeping up with my live chat. So I'm going to pull that up real quick in case anyone has questions. I don't have another freaking atheist here to help me watch what's going on in the live chat.
Fair enough.
Couldn't get a hold of him today.
Bear in mind, we might not have terribly many people here right now because we are competing with Steve McRae at the moment.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that would be why I only have one viewer right now.
Yes.
Damn you, Steve.
Yeah, Steve literally just started 9 minutes ago.
And see now, if I wasn't doing this, I'd be watching it myself.
Fair enough.
All right, so I'm gonna look up me real quick, just in case. Just in case anyone else does decide to show up and has questions for you, I will be able to see them.
Fair enough. Well, I might actually see him first because I've got the live chat pulled up right next to my Google Hangouts. I can see both of them at the same time.
Oh, great. So we have Beige and Natja.
Not the other
guys?
denomination of atheists we don't like.
I know.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
The upside down kind of atheist.
The kind that live on the place that doesn't exist on the flat Earth. He can't prove Australia doesn't exist.
He can't.
Nope.
And that's why I don't believe him.
So you said you wanted me to get into the stuff I believe when I was a Christian. So we're delving into stupid bigoted Suris territory. Got it.
Oh, yes. The bigoted, the better.
Okay, well, that's a mouthful. With that said, what would you like to know? Any particular time frame or any? Do you want to ask me a question on like, hey, what did you think about this particular thing back when you were that?
We're gonna do that for now. I like to kind of start at the beginning and then just kind of see where it takes us.
Okay.
So
the Earth was a formless void. The universe was in a hot, dense state. Then there was what we called the universal expansion. And then from there, we started having a whole bunch of particles just expand outward. And then gravity did the thing that nullified the second law of thermodynamics, because creationists love to bring that up to stop the Big Bang Theory in its tracks, apparently. I'm too far back, aren't I?
Maybe. I'm asking for your Christian view on it.
Oh, okay. So in the beginning, God created the heavens. Oh, we're still too far back. Sorry, I figured I'd double down on the bad jokes.
Start. No, it's fine. I like
it. So it started with my family. Everybody in my family that I knew of at the time was Christian. My dad was not, but I was never informed that he was not. That was something that I learned literally this year. I did not know that at the time. However, Beach has a question. Who are the evil Christians according to my church? Well, my church did not have evil Christians because we were non-denominational and we accepted everybody, whether you were Catholic, Mormon, as long as you weren't a filthy pagan, you were accepted into the particular churches that I grew up in. They just cared that, did you think Jesus is Lord? Yes. Okay, cool. Welcome to the fold. There's the buffet over there. That's pretty much how they operated. But I realized as an adult, the reason that they operated that way is because it was Pensacola Christian Academy. And if anybody has seen my deconversion video where I show pictures of the academy, it is a compound. It is a huge compound. If you're at recess and 3 other classes are at recess, there is a chance none of you will see each other. It is that massive. Not to mention, they actually have a moat in between them and their college campus. You could feasibly be a kindergartner and grow up your entire life all the way up to college with nothing but PCA's indoctrination. They are an ABECA book type of area. I don't know if you're familiar with ABECA at all. I will say that the thing you're doing where you're muting and unmuting your microphone, it's very audible, and it does not catch the first half second of whatever you say. And it's I hear this.
Oh, gotcha. Yes, I didn't know that. I have a Switch, so I was using that. So I'll start using.
I have a thing too, but it's to this mic, which is not the one I'm using. So I can do this 1,000 times and it does nothing.
Gotcha.
But yeah, for the sound effect itself wasn't really a problem. It was the fact that I could see you saying something, but I could hear that there was just no audio coming through.
Gotcha. Well, thanks for the heads up.
But I don't really hear anything coming from your end. So unless you have to like hawk a loogie or something, I think it should be fine.
Okay.
But it's your channel, so you do you. Sorry, you asked me to be a bigoted Christian, so I'm trying to be the holier than thou at the moment. I'm trying to channel that through right now.
You're being too nice.
God damn it.
Be bigoted.
Are you one of them homosexuals?
Oh, God.
Let's go into that territory.
Rat towel.
See, rat towels. You know, I would say that we could make towels with their fur, but then they might still try to kill the gays. So, no, let's not do that. Let's not do that.
Not right now.
But with that said, So yeah, you feasibly could grow up your entire life with nothing but their indoctrination. And I actually have a perfect example of that because one of my friends, who's not really my friend anymore because we've had a few tussles since I became an atheist, who did grow up in that environment and only in that environment. And I can tell you exactly where that leads. Anytime that we had a debate over something like the flood, his primary source was AIG. So, yes. And you have to pay to be at the school, by the way. It's a very expensive education. It's the reason, or one of the reasons, that I grew up in poverty. I did not realize that it was different than public school. I thought that school was just school. I did not realize that my mom was funneling all of the money that the house had into getting me a proper Christian education, which is why we couldn't afford food. So yeah, go figure. Excellent. I'm not crapping on my mom's choices, but I'm saying that better choices possibly could have been made. So in K4 and K5, they start teaching, or that's how they have their setup. It's K4, K5, and then 1st through 12, and then college, as far as their class structure. So in K4, K5, they start out teaching you how the world was formed, and math, and how to read, because they want you to read your Bible as soon as possible. So by age 4, I was reading full books that big, but that wasn't me being special. That was everybody. Everybody had to be at least three or four reading grades higher than the grade they were actually in order to get them reading the Bible as soon as possible.
Yeah, sure, yeah, because the Bible's a hard read anyway. So
yeah, it's a hard read on its own, and if you want kids to be able to read it, then you've got to have them at age 3 reading Stuart Little. That's how we began. We started off like 1 week learning the alphabet, and then another week learning how to put phrases together, and then we were learning proper grammar within that same year, so that we could read full books, so they could get us into the Bible as fast as possible. Don't get me wrong, I was very happy for that accelerated education when I went into the public education sphere later on. It certainly helped, but there were certain things that I got completely stunted in as well. Like social norms. I had no idea what the hell those were because you weren't allowed to speak in this school. If you were at recess, you could not speak. If you were at PE, you couldn't speak because there was a distinction between PE and recess. And if you were at lunch, you could not speak. And if you were in class, obviously you couldn't speak. And if you were in the hallways for any amount of time, speaking meant detention. Needless to say, I got a lot of detention. But yes, so when I finally left and went to a public school, I stopped getting in trouble, strangely enough, but I also didn't know how to talk to people, and I still don't know how to talk to people. Case in point.
But you're doing all right now, so
fair. Well, I'm speaking at a camera, so for me, I'm still talking to a brick wall, even though the brick wall is talking back, and I think I might be a little bit crazy as a result of that.
Well, you're not going to get detention.
Well, at least I'm not going to get detention. Psych wards aren't detention, right?
Right.
Okay, cool. Excellent. But yeah, so the fun thing about the Abeka literature that we were taught through, not only was it decently advanced, like in 2nd grade you were learning algebra, because why the hell not? So not only were you learning things decently advanced, you were also learning them in this weird, I'm trying to say it was a bad balance. So you would learn some basic concepts very quickly, like things that were very, very hard. Well, not hard, but things that were solid. Let's say like math. Math doesn't really change unless you're a flat earther. Math doesn't really change at all. Right. However, if you are learning history, the books can be written in any way they want. And Abeka took a lot of advantage of that. So our founding fathers were very good white Christian men. And on top of that, Charles Darwin had a bedside conversion before he died. And on top of that, he denounced the entire theory of evolution. And what was some of the other stuff? Oh, yes, a Scottish professor mapped the lineages in the Bible, and that's how we know that the Earth is 6,400 years old. There's also, I don't remember if that was my teachers doing that or that was the Abeka literature. The Abeka literature, if memory serves, is very vague on the age of the Earth. However, the teachers definitely made it a point to let us know that the Earth was indeed young, and therefore evolution could not have happened. So yeah, it's a very fun learning environment. But the reason I say that it's imbalanced is even though you do get those things like reading comprehension and math, you start learning those way up here. Your sciences and your history comprehension it just goes into the shitter. So even though in certain aspects you might seem smarter than the other kids in your in your neighborhood, and I think that's what they wanted, is they wanted their children to seem smarter because they wanted their children to be this beacon that funneled more people in. Because they seem smarter in these areas, not the areas you don't normally talk about, especially not as a 5 and 6 year old. It's a very manipulative tactic on my hand, as far as I can tell. It's manipulating to the children itself, and it's manipulating to the environment outside, because these children that seem smarter than everybody else are actually quite stunted, because I'm definitely a freaking idiot. So, but with that said, the other thing that really got me, not only was it ridiculously expensive, not only did they have this kind of virtue signaling of our children are this smart, come to our school because of this. As a Christian growing up, to me, all Christians were Christians, period. And to me, they still are, because I tried to tell other people who might not, understand that their God is probably a fairy tale. I'm not saying that it is. I'm saying that probabilistically, Yahweh probably doesn't exist, especially not the way he's portrayed in the Bible. But trying to get Christians to understand that you do realize that, like, you might be a Reformed Calvinist, and you might be a Monist, and you over there might be a Mormon, but you're all Christian. Now, you're different flavors of Christian, and you don't like each other's flavors, but the fact that there's a grape-flavored Christian over there does not make it not a Christian. It's not suddenly not candy because the candy flavors one you particularly don't like. It's still a Christian, and that's how we were taught. As a result, I heard, these mythical things about, oh, the Catholic Bible has these different books in it, and they're hidden books. And I would hear these from my classmates that were Catholic, and I'd be like, oh, you guys have a Bible? To me, that was like cheat codes in a video game. Was a Bible with hidden books in it that I wasn't supposed to know about.
Right.
Like, that to me was the same thing as a cheat code. So I was all over that. I was like, holy crap, the Catholics have more books in their Bible. Jesus actually married in the Bible? What is this? And, we never even got into the saints or anything like that. It was just the idea that these different Bibles existed with different books that I didn't know about that intrigued me. But again, we were all taught that all Christians were Christian. Now, as an adult, I realized that as a financial institution, the ability to accept all denominations of the most popular religion in America was, in fact, a very good financial decision, maybe not necessarily one that was based on religious pretenses alone. It feels very much like it was based on the financial side of things, now that I'm an adult and have a little better grasp on the economics of how a system like that works. But
yeah,
you
yeah, I mean, it definitely makes sense to look at it that way. And if you look at what Not Jehovah's Witnesses said, or Fenrir, just on my channel alone, it's the Jehovah's Witnesses are an organization.
Yeah.
it's profitable, and I mean, like, so is like Scientology for the people up top, but
oh yeah,
religion has pretty much always been that way. And to think that it's not now is kind of foolish, I think.
It's a little delusional.
Yeah.
The thing that I pointed out, I don't know if you watched my interview with Matthew from the Atheist Association of America.
I have it saved on my watch later right now.
Well, for one, I will say that I made a terrible mistake in not muting my microphone when I was eating, so we get to hear the lovely sounds of. For anybody who is disgusted by that, I apologize. But it was also an impromptu thing that I didn't have a lot of time preparing. But with that said, one of the things I pointed out in that video that I'll point out again here, the thing that really gets me about Christianity, especially young earth creationism, which is what I was taught, is normally when it comes to cults, you have a deceiver and then you have a group of the deceived. With Christianity and a lot of religion, and specifically young earth creationism, because we see this with the Andersons, the Hovens, the Towels, you have deceiver. I'm sorry, we're still not saying his name. He's just not a secret homosexual. That's all.
Right.
But
not a secret one.
Not a secret
not a
homosexual.
Secret homosexual.
But what you tend to see is you see deceivers who are deceiving on the way down, but at the same time, they are also grooming other deceived to also be deceivers. This is why you've got people like, Fat Scowl, who looks up to somebody like Steven Anderson. And when I point out that a particular individual has heinous views about a minority population in the United States, all you see is just the stars start sparkling in their eyes because they realize he's talking about my senpai. And
he doubles down on it instead of gets disgusted.
Yes, and it's disgusting, but it is that feedback loop of somebody deceiving somebody on the way down, but you've got, 100 people in this congregation that are deceived and one person who's got charisma, and that person can go from being deceived into being a deceiver, so they get groomed into that, and then you see it over and over and over again. Look what Kent Hovind did with his son. Obviously, they're not on great terms because his son stole his entire ministry out from under him while he was in prison. But you do see that. You do see that grooming of, you're the one that has the charisma, you're the one that can lead more people into the flock. And I think it's very telling that one of the words for the members of a congregation are sheep. It's very telling, and yet people are proud of that. And I don't understand. I've heard people say that they're proud to be slaves under a particular religion, and I don't get it, especially Islam. But we're talking about when I was a Christian. And when I was a Christian, I didn't know Islam existed. It was not something that
I didn't either.
No, it was not something that was brought up, even though there's almost more of them than there are any other faith in the world. Actually, there are more of them than there are any other faith in the world, especially if you do what modern day Christians do and segment Catholics into a separate category. Then you definitely have more Muslims than Christians in the world, easily, hands down. But a few of the things we were taught, inadvertently, it was not my school that taught me this, but my mother taught me racism very early. Not necessarily don't like black people. That was not what I was taught. It was more don't breed with them is what I was taught. And I was like, well, why not? And it's like, well, God doesn't want you to mix the races. Look at what happened during the Tower of Babel. And my family still kind of has that, because when my uncle died, I went to one of my extended family members' houses, who I didn't even know existed, and saw another series of family members who, again, I didn't know existed, but a death in the family does that. And as I'm seeing these people, I'm looking at their family pictures, and I'm seeing that there's a lot of these pictures with one of the members who's not there and a Japanese girl. And it didn't seem to mean much to me. But then one of my other family members go, it's sad that they're not together anymore, but I guess that makes sense when you try to mix cultures like that. And as an adult now, I can look back on stuff like that and realize that that's just really sugar-laced bigotry. It's really disgusting. Mixing races was not something that was really covered during the time that I was in school, because we also weren't taught about sex. I never received a sex ed class. I never had that at all, to the point where when I finally, was of age where I was doing things sexually, I did not understand that a condom was still useful during a blowjob. I thought it was only for preventing pregnancy, because I never received a sex ed class. I didn't know what an STD was. I didn't know what any of that stuff was. Now, it's not to say that I received any STDs. I definitely lucked out there, but I was sexually stupid. Still pretty sexually stupid, come to think of it, but worse so back then. Certainly not to any good degree. So that's kind of where I said earlier, you have the unbalanced education. You have the hard studies like math and really math and reading comprehension. I can't really think of anything else they did superbly well. But when you've got the studies like math and reading comprehension, but you've got history and sexual education and science comprehension like way down here, you just have a really unbalanced system. Right. And that's the system that I was brought up in. Come first grade, we started having reading competitions where the more books you read, the more prizes you would get, basically. And my prize for winning one year was getting a copy of Stuart Little, which I still have because I don't care where it came from. It's still a good book. But I realized that, the reason that they focused so hard on like, oh, here's your reading comprehension test. Oh, they had this thing where we had what was called the world's best chocolate. and you had to take these chocolate bars and you had to go and fundraise for the school. Not that the school needed any freaking money, but you had to fundraise at the school by taking these boxes of chocolate bars and going door to door and selling chocolate bars. Little did I know, what does that also mirror? Door-to-door evangelism. What does reading comprehension, being one of the things they push hardest, function directly to do? Get people to read the Bible, because it is a hard book to get to stomach and go through. I did not realize as a child the things that I realized as an adult, which was everything they were doing was systematically grooming people to be deceivers. And it's very frustrating thinking about that now as an adult, because you start to put those things together and realize that's why they had people going door to door selling chocolate. It wasn't to raise money for the school. The school didn't need it. People paid to be there. It had everything to do with grooming. That's the reason they had reading comprehension competitions, and that was the only type of competition we had, because they wanted people to read so that they could get them into their Bibles deeper. So, yeah.
You know, though, because when I went to public elementary school too, we still had the reading competitions, and we still went like door to door selling chocolates and stuff too. So I don't know, because you didn't go to, did you like just never go to a normal public school then?
I went to a public school starting in middle school. I did my middle and high schools in public schools, but my early education was all in a Christian private school.
Okay. Yeah, but that's something that we'd have in common there then. Because see, I went to public school until about 4th grade, and then for the next 8 years, I was homeschooled, and then my last 2 years, because they dropped me back for like one class for my senior year, I went to a normal high school again. So I kind of
bounced around.
Yeah. So like I have half decent social skills, but I was still a weird kid.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
One of the things, speaking of my plushes and your poster that you have in the background, one of the earliest things I remember was getting a letter in the mail, not in the mail, sent with us home, that we had to hand deliver to our parents. And the letter contained only one paragraph. Pokemon is of the devil, and if your children watch it, they will burn in hell.
There you go. Yeah, I remember hearing that it was very demonic, and I know my grandma was worried about it.
Yeah, that was all coming off the end of the satanic panic of the late 80s and early 90s. Anything that was new, anything that was popular in modern culture was considered satanic de facto. The only things I could legitimately say that they had any grounds to demonize, probably Harry Potter, because, you know, thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. Okay, I can kind of get that, but it is fiction, so are we supposed to hold your fiction higher than this fiction? But will Suris turn from his wicked ways and embrace the one true faith of Pentecostalism? All right, so I do have one question, Godless Iowan. If you had a hyper-Pentecostal, which I know you were not, and they started breaking out the snakes, would you open your gaping butthole with a hollow flagpole and let the snake crawl up?
I'm sure he would.
I'm pretty certain he would, and he would do it in the most patriotic of ways. He'd have the music playing in the background and everything. I would hope you've heard the meme by now.
I don't think so.
You really have not?
I don't think so.
Oh my gosh. Why? Why have you not? Godless Iowan, I'm sorry. I have to do this to you, friend, because you are my friend, and I do love you. And I do love you with all of my heart. I at least love you more than Jesus does, but I would not slaughter babies for you. So let's see here.
You're not going to be bashing any babies against rocks?
No, I'm not going to be doing anything to the Midianites at all today. So let's see here. Let's go into my Discord and type in Patriot and see what we can find. Because I know for a fact mentions has link in channel memes. Where are you? I cannot seem to find it. This is very strange.
Oh no.
Okay. Patriotism. There we go. Let's do a search for that. Aha! Here we are.
Bingo.
Thank you, Secular.
It's my right to have a flag hanging out of that open gaping butthole. My forefathers died so that I could put a flag in my open gaping butthole.
That is our godless Iowan, everybody. So the flags in the open, the flagpole that was hollow in the gaping butthole, that was not an impromptu thing. That's been a thing for a while.
Oh, that's beautiful. I'm really sad I didn't find that earlier.
Hey, you'd find it if you were in my Discord. Secular posts stuff like that all the time. He also posted it onto Twitter.
Oh, gotcha. Now, see, I'm on Twitter a lot, but as far as Discord goes, I still have to dink around with that to really get into it a little bit more. I'm on a few of the Discords on there, channels, whatever you call
them. Servers. It'd be servers. And I'm trying to send Natja, because Natja desperately wants.
Please send me that.
Yes, he desperately wants it. So Natja, my friend, you now have patriotism. Enjoy. Do with it what you will. And yeah, I have no problems with that. I don't even need Iowans' permission. Or seculars. I think they want that just spread across the nation.
Yeah.
I think that's perfect.
Yeah, if I had that 2 days ago, I would have passed that around on the 4th.
Oh my gosh.
Like a bad STD.
See, remember, I didn't even know what those were.
Yeah, I should have sent it to a bunch of Christians. They wouldn't have been ready.
Are you prepared? The Catholic Church banned condoms. You can't protect yourself from this. But with that said, we were also not necessarily taught, because it was never explicitly told to us to hate homosexuals, but it definitely was never suggested to us that they were anything other than reprobates. So when I actually got into public school, I was definitely a homophobe. And I would refuse that label anytime somebody said, "Oh, you're just being a homophobe." And I would say, "No, I'm not homophobic. I just don't want them to fuck me." Which is the canned response of every Southern homophobe.
Yup.
And yeah. I've even seen somebody try to misconstrue that and say, "So wait, if you're saying you wouldn't actively have sex with a homosexual, you're automatically a homophobe? Wow, you fucking libtard." I'm like, that's not what I said. I said that it was a bad excuse, and I'm using it as a bad excuse. The fact that you're falling for the red herring simply means you're an idiot and a bigot. So let's ignore that. Iowa knew I had bumps on my bad stick, and they made it hurt when I pee. You know, Iowan, I don't even know if there's bumps there. I have to use a freaking microscope to find the damn thing. So I'm sorry.
Goosebumps, maybe.
If it's there, maybe goosebumps. But for that, you've got to have a pore. And I think pores are larger than what I've got down there.
Now, I should have known. If Godless Iowan walked in, this would turn into a Godless Iowan bashing party.
Yes.
I should. I wasn't thinking of it, but I should have.
I am his punching bag, and he is my punching bag. So what I'm saying is we beat each other off, and it's wonderful.
Beautiful bruises.
You think they're bruises. But with that said, I think that generally covers the very early stages of most of what was there. Unless there's anything else about the school you'd like to know, because there's a lot of stuff about that school that was weird.
Kind of. So was this like more of like a non-denominational school? Like did it like
it was classified as non-denominational. They accepted all Christian children. All children were God's children. All children died in the flood. God didn't commit genocide on babies, though. It's okay. Yes.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You just have to cherry pick the right stuff to teach them.
Yes.
Now, it's really interesting to me hearing you go through all of that, because a lot of it rings true to what I learned too. And I think I went through some of the Abeka,
Mhm.
the Abeka curriculum. My
If we can even call it that.
yeah,
I don't want to insult other curriculums.
right. But yeah, I think I went through some of the same books, and I remember them pushing very much writing, reading, and arithmetic. Those are the only three that matter.
Yep.
And what else really stuck with me there? I'm kind of drawing a blank now, but I know that, well, we had a like Bible study as a subject.
Yep. So do we.
Yeah, but that was when I was homeschooled too.
Mhm.
So I didn't have that in public school so much, which is kind of odd because the area that I grew up in was super duper Catholic, but there was a Catholic school just down the road too. So
remember, in publicly funded education, you can't have it.
Right.
They took our prayer out of school. That's why they got all the school shootings.
Yeah. You forced your God into our pledge.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think that's around the time the shooting started.
You forced your God into our pledge, you forced them onto our money, and then you made everybody of every religious denomination that was not yours use that same money as a currency to feed themselves. And now you're putting it on police cars. Yep. We didn't take shit from you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The taking didn't happen. The pressing did.
Yes. You know, one of the points that I tried to make whenever the police car thing happened was, oh, you say it's not a big deal. Okay, then let's just have a police car come up to you, and while you're getting arrested, you see on the side of the police car, Allahu Akbar, and you're an American with a deep-seated fear of ISIS. So how safe do you feel now? Suddenly, when we switch it to another religion that just is not the one that you happen to be on, suddenly it changes.
Well, Suris, now you're just heading into extremism. So,
well, no, the point is, like, for instance, in America, we know that all Christian groups are not the KKK. However, the KKK is a Christian group. But on the flip side, we have Americans that don't understand that all Muslim groups are not ISIS.
Right.
Even though it's the same thing.
I was watching last week tonight a while back, and it was when he was pointing out just Muslims, how they're portrayed on the news, especially in like Fox News, and anyone under...
You mean blowing up?
Yeah. No, well, it's
Muslims are blowing up in the news right now. That can be taken so many different ways. I can't remember what it's called now. Damn it, now Sinclair News Network. So anyone in the Sinclair News Network pretty much has like the same script across the nation. And whenever they landed on like the Muslim Watch part of the news, it's just like they always had to have something to say about Muslims or like Islam. Yes. And like at one point for like, it was like a terrorist watch thing. It was just like 2 different Muslims' birthdays. Just like, how is that terrorist news? That's all Muslims, all 2 billion Muslims in the world are terrorists. My name's President George W. Bush. Yes, that's basically what you see in America right now. And it really bothers me. Now, don't get me wrong. I will gladly hold the title of Islamophobe, if only because I am absolutely terrified of that religion taking over everywhere, because even the most peace-loving versions of that religion still adhere to Surah 2, and Surah 2 has to be one of the things that I am deeply against, because I am all for equal rights. And I don't know if you've read the Quran in any capacity, but Surah 2, the cow, is where you get the idea that women are worth half that of a man. But if it's 2 sisters, they are now worth 2/3 of a man. Yes, there's a distinction there. It's they figured that out because that's how inheritance is passed down. And it's the certitude disgusts me on multiple levels because it is used as an apologetic for equal rights, pointing out that Islam was one of the first religions to give women their inheritance, and therefore Islam is a religion of equality. And then you have to drink. Is this take a drink every time you hear bullshit?
When I hear too much bullshit. Islam was one of the first religions to offer equal rights.
Well,
like, hold on, I gotta go like grab another bottle.
Historically, though, and this is the reason the apologetic is so sinister, historically, they were earlier in giving equal rights to some of their women. Not equal rights, but more equal rights. Right. And I had this conversation with somebody who studies history very closely, and they said, well, historically, the Islamic countries did give equal rights more so than other countries did. I'm like, that's wonderful. The problem is they fucking stopped. I apologize if swear words are bad on your channel. I don't know what your policy is on that.
I don't give a fuck.
Oh, sweet, awesome. Aztats can. I don't even know how to cuss now. You just gave me permission. Now I don't even know how to do it. But the thing that I point out to them is, you're right. In 700 AD, they might be one of the first people that gave an inheritance to women, but that inheritance is still not the same as that of a man. The wardrobe is still not the same as that of a man, because right now, I'm sorry, if a man wants to walk outside dressed the same way that a woman traditionally would, I don't give a shit. And if a woman walks outside dressed as a man traditionally would, nobody gives a shit. Because if a woman walks outside dressed in t-shirts or in a t-shirt and jeans, which is also men's attire, there are people that find that dead sexy. And nobody cares. But in Islam, hijab, when the apologetic that I hear is hijab is actually equal because both men and women have hijab. You're right. They do both have hijab. The difference is the code for hijab for women is cover up everything, damn it. And the code for hijab is for men is just wear whatever the West wears. Nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
Like
and that just I understand to some level, like their thought process. But when it comes to stuff like that, just like that is, it's like a non sequitur. It's just like it doesn't follow everything else that you have in your worldview and your in your mind. It just it doesn't make sense. It does not follow. Just wear whatever the West wears because it doesn't matter, but the women it still does. But
yeah, and it's one of the things that bothers me, because if you look at what people are dressed in traditionally Muslim countries, for instance in Saudi Arabia, look at the dress. You will see women who are wearing hijab and burqa, most of the time burqa, which it can't be comfortable to be under that in the heat. Just saying. But then when you have women when you have men, they're wearing, like khaki pants and flannel shirts. Okay. That's very West attire. That's not, you're not wearing your gown and your skull cap.
Right.
And it really bothers me, because one of the things that I say about religion all the time is, if you want to pray in your mosque, if you want to pray in your church, if you want to go to your temple or your tabernacle and do whatever, I don't care. But the minute you start trying to enforce what people are allowed to do in society outside of that building, now I care.
Yeah, and I don't mind at all. People can still pray in schools. It's fine with me, unless
it's fine with the public.
Make everyone else pray in school too.
It's fine with the public education system too. There was never a point where prayer was removed from schools.
Right.
What was removed was enforced prayer. Now we have closer to what we would call a moment of silence, in which you have the capacity to pray the same way you were able to before. So it's very weird. Yeah,
it doesn't make sense. It's just like that they want it all, or they act like they have nothing.
Yes, and it's you got to remember, they're persecuted. They're so
the most persecuted.
80% of the U.S. population are so persecuted. They're so persecuted.
Of the population is the minority.
Yes, don't you understand? The end times are coming. There's so many scoffers. This is the age of scoffers, the age of persecution. That's how you know that Jesus is coming soon. I'm still in my bigoted religion phase, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Am I doing a good job?
Yeah. You're really staying in character.
With a sarcastic flair.
Yes. It's beautiful.
I also notice how progressively, as we're talking, you seem to be losing some of the shackles of ice you started with.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
No, you started out like seeming like a little stiff and maybe a little uncomfortable. And now you're actually laughing, and it's getting much more pleasant as we go along.
Thank you.
However, what you need to do is you actually need to understand a very fundamental thing about YouTube. If you are on YouTube and you're live streaming and you're not preaching the gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ, no matter how much you improve, no matter how much ice you break, you're still going to burn in hell, and you're going to wish you had all that ice right back.
It's just going to melt.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been I've had a bad habit recently of every time I need to get ready, it's just like I don't make it to it until like the last 20 minutes, and then I set every single thing up, and then for the first like 10, 15, 20 minutes, I'm just like, crap, what did I forget? I'm still trying to like organize my thoughts, and I'm just like, crap.
Oh, you can ask anybody who's had me on their channel for a stream, or even who's watched any of my streams. I am routinely late to everything.
Starting that way for me.
Just ask God this Iowan. He gets surprised if I come onto the stream 30 seconds before it actually starts. He's legitimately impressed. It's just like, holy shit, Suris didn't sleep through this.
Oh, wowee. Yeah, I think next week I'm going to tell everyone. Oh, because I have an interview with a Caproni.
Mm-hmm.
Are
you going to start out by muting him?
Yeah, for 3 minutes.
Yes,
or 300 seconds.
You have to mute him for 3 minutes or 300 seconds, whichever one comes first. And that needs to be how you begin the stream.
What? I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Cap, what are you saying? Every single time Cap gets in, for some reason, it just keeps on kicking you out. I don't understand. Maybe we should wait till the 3-minute mark.
I just have to mute him every time I'm talking, at least.
Yes.
And not just saying #bootcap. Yes.
It is the best hash cap. Wow. He's infected me.
Another reason why he's booted. Bitch.
You can't even boot him. He has hooves.
It's true. All right. So I want to go through a little bit of the Bible real quick, just certain areas of it, and to see what your beliefs were in particular.
Do you have to bring up that kind of trauma?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I do. That's what this is for. I like trauma. I'm a little bit of a masochist, and it's fun. You'll love it. And you have your tea, so get ready to drink it, I guess. All right. So first, again, at the beginning, were you a young Earth creationist then?
Oh, in every sense of the word.
I gotcha. So every sense of the word, as in every word was sacred?
Every word in the Bible is sacred. If to the point where God must be all loving, even if one of my friends had been viciously raped and was terribly uncomfortable and was terribly hurt, I still had to let her know that it was all part of God's plan, and he was probably just showing her that if somebody else gets hurt down the line, then she will now have the tools necessary to help them as well. These are legitimate things I actually said.
Yeah. And like with you were saying two things now I remember that you learned growing up is, one, it's not that you need to be a racist, but you just can't marry anyone of a different race.
Yes, which is racism.
Right. And like you said, like it's like a mild form of it, but it's still racism. And like I never really had an issue with it, obviously, because I grew up like that. But one of my Still one of my favorite phrases. Whenever my parents see an interracial couple on TV or in a movie or something, one of them always says, "Oh, white and dark chocolate. Oh, they're trying to make swirl." Just like, oh God, stop. Because like when I started dating my wife, she was like disgusted at that. She's like, "What the fuck is going on here? Why is he saying that?" I'm just like, "Oh, just because of this. Not supposed to married, interracially." But like as time went on, I'm like, "Oh yeah, that is kind of gross, isn't it?"
Yeah, it is. It's the same. It's the same thing as when I hear it so many freaking times, and I've been hearing it more and more often lately. That's what makes it worse. Is there's nothing wrong with homosexuals. They just can't have homosexual sex.
Right. And all they do is spread AIDS.
Yeah, see, I don't even want to delve into that part because I think that it's disgusting enough without the added Anderson baggage.
Yeah. Yeah,
but really when you tell two people who are in love, who are consenting adults, no matter the circumstance, if they know every single risk involved, and if they are consenting, that's the big thing, because obviously with certain things there's a power dynamic at play and there's a problem. Just fucking let them. It doesn't harm you. It doesn't do anything. If they love each other and they want to be together, just let them. What does it do? It's to say anything about that, or to say anything against that, rather.
Right, and the normal argument is just like, no, I mean, they're just in it for the sex. Like, they don't just love each other. It's not natural. That it can't be, because God didn't design them that way.
But they definitely love each other. It's definitely the exact same thing as your standard heterosexual love, because the only reason heterosexual love is the standard is because there's more of us. But that doesn't make us fucking special. It doesn't.
No,
it doesn't. It doesn't make the love any different. It doesn't make it any more special. And by the way, gay people can procreate just fine. They have lots of methods of doing it. We have this thing called artificial insemination. We have surrogate mothers. We have the world has come to a place where if somebody wants to say, "Oh, if they're gay, they can't bear fruit, therefore God doesn't like them." Really? It's the 21st century. They're able to bear fruit in 15 different ways that don't involve sticking it in each other. Shut up.
Yeah, and I just heard that the other day. But anyways,
yeah. Then I'm not speaking out of my butt.
No, you're not. I mean, like,
you're hearing it.
I hear this stuff often, and I can't even like really start an argument with it, because I'm at work most of the time when I hear it. And I can't just start that shit at work.
I have those arguments even when I'm at work, but that's mainly because I'm working from home, doing call center stuff. I can just stare at my phone the entire time. My boss isn't going to peek in through my webcam or anything. Mm-hmm. My bosses are in Chicago and I'm in Georgia. What are they going to do? As long as I'm doing my job. Yeah, as long as I'm doing my job, they can't really get onto me for it. However, I did get into a comment war on one of my recent videos, where I said two things that this particular individual who's been trolling my comment section for about a month apparently held issue with. One, I said homosexuality is not immoral. They took issue with that. And two, I said that the age of the Earth has an impact on the medical field. And they took issue with that as well. They were like, how does the age of the Earth have an impact on the medical field? It's like, well, let's go ahead and break it down. Evolution doesn't work on a young Earth. Evolution is how we know that the common cold can't be fought with modern medicine the way it is, because it evolves too fast. Without the theory of evolution, we wouldn't have an explanation for that. That theory of evolution doesn't hold on a young Earth. Therefore, a young Earth has a direct impact in the goddamn medical field, you freaking idiot.
Bingo.
Not to mention, the other issues of like, we came up with antibiotics, and antibiotics work because of evolution. We have a fungi that has grown and evolved to eat bacteria, neutralizing their effectiveness, making us immune to most bacterial problems, until the bacteria over the last 50 years began to evolve to fight off the antibacterials, And now we are having to scramble because we're projecting in the next 10 or 20 years, antibiotics simply will not work. So we're having to scramble and figure out a way out that, and we did. Thanks to the theory of evolution, we found that there's actually a virus that will eat bacteria and make it explode from the inside and drink its guts, and it's called a phage. And the lovely thing about evolution is there's almost always a trade-off. You don't just simply improve, you give up one thing for another. Humans, we gained a lot of intelligence and we lost a lot of strength. This bacteria, it will gain the ability to fight off the phage and lose its resistance to antibacterial medication. So it's a catch-22, and we can catch it in the middle, which for the time being seems to be a very good and functional way of keeping the human species alive. Because, you know, 200 years ago, you get a bad cut and a bad shot of tetanus, and you are dead. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah.
So pointing out one to this individual, you know, the age of the earth does have an impact on the medical field because evolution is the backbone of biology. And he was like, well, I see that's a quote from Darwin. Can you prove that? And I basically just finally got to the point with this person where I told him, you know what? If you can disprove the theory of evolution, by all means, go win your freaking Nobel Prize. That's what it's there for.
Yeah.
And he said, oh, he's like, oh, look, a common atheist apologetic. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm done with you. And then, of course, he had his other comment about homosexuality is immoral. And I said, can you prove to me that homosexuality is immoral? So he brings me to a population study done by the Huffington Post, which apparently proves his point, because the Huffington Post is a primary scholarly source, apparently. So, yeah. No.
Yeah.
Dumb shit. Dumb shit I used to believe, but dumb shit nonetheless.
Yeah. I am there with you. So quick question, a little off topic, is when did you start dropping your faith? Like how long ago?
Probably about 3.5, maybe closer to 4 years ago now. Okay. When I got out of school, I stopped really thinking about my faith too much, but this is exactly how I worded it. I do not go to any church. Oh, your stuff just cut out.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay. I mean, I didn't want to see you fap anyway.
Don't listen.
But one of the things that I would say constantly was that I do not belong to any one church. However, I do believe in the Judeo-Christian God. That was the exact words that I used for the longest time as I was slowly losing my faith. And it was me basically just trying to not address the fact that I just really didn't believe in the Bible. I took the Bible as a giant sack of bullshit that definitely was written by man. It was definitely corrupted in every way, shape, and form. And therefore, me as an adult could not believe in that book as anything but a book of maybe vaguely historically accurate fairy tales. And then, of course, a few years ago, I finally just said, I just don't believe. I reevaluated everything and realized I don't believe the Judeo-Christian God is the God of the world, because he's a giant contradiction. He's a quad omni God. He's omnibenevolent, omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient. And a quad omni God simply cannot exist, because a quad omni God, such as the one in the Bible, could not, would not, and should not have created hell. You can't be omnibenevolent and have infinite punishment. And whenever somebody tries to refute me on that, typically I either get dead air or I get the conversation to stop. I am still curious, considering that I made a point about how slaughtering infants was wrong, and a particular Christian apologist who I'm actually friends with tried to tell me, on what grounds do you think that slaughtering infants is wrong? And I'm like, I understand this is just a philosophical hole you're trying to dig into me. Mm-hmm. So I finally just said my objective moral standard. That way they couldn't pull the hole without an objective moral standard. How can you possibly believe that? I can just pull the fucking Sam Harris, the objective moral standard is the moral landscape. Shut up. There is an objective moral standard there that I can pull, and you're wrong. Also, just so you know, Iowan, I was not talking about S.J. Thomason. I was talking about somebody completely different, oddly enough. So I did have a conversation with SJ about something similar as well. And if I were to quote, for anybody who knows Ocean Keltoy, I know that not a lot of people are huge fans of him in our side of the community, but I'm friends with him. I think he's a decent guy. And his response to my conversation with SJ, where she pointed out that what I was talking about was the genocide of the Midianites, not the Canaanites, and that's what made it different. And Ocean just went, yeah, wrong genocide. You're just talking about the mass displacement of people from their land and homes after sacking their cities because of temple sex and child funerals. And then later he goes on to say, her justifications of genocide have made me a little uncomfortable, especially using evidence of holding funerals for children as a justification for genocide. So I will say this. Anybody who isn't a fan of Ocean, I can understand he's a pagan. But stuff like that reminds me that he's actually a good guy.
Yeah, he's really cool. Actually, just a few days after you had him over on your channel, is when I made my Facebook and I found him on there. So he'll be on my channel at some point in the near future. We just still need to set a date. But
okay, awesome.
But yeah, I've been following him since his talk with Shannon back in like January or February.
Yeah, I think my first interaction with him was on a JD Kane's channel. Me and him were there talking on his. I don't know if you've seen JD Kane before, but he has a thing, Talk Shit Tuesdays, where a bunch of atheists and theists will just pop into a channel and just shoot the shit for 2 hours. And it usually gets pretty heated. And I used to be on it, now I'm not, because it's not super productive conversation, but it's not supposed to be. But I'm thinking he's been wanting to do a collaboration with me over and above what we already did about the conversation or the religious arguments. I'm thinking about just getting him in studio here and just having a collaboration with him here, because he literally lives like half an hour away from me.
That's pretty cool.
That was a random thing we found out, was that he lives right near where I am, which I would totally be hanging out with other people in the community if they lived near where I was, but they don't, because I don't live in Texas, where most of us are.
I know. I kind of hate that. See, I'm taking a trip to Wyoming here in about a week and a half, and on the way back, I'm going to try to visit a few people in the community.
Awesome.
So, guys might see a little live collaboration with. Oh people.
Yeah. I think if we can do more live collaborations with more people, like in studio when that's available, I think that would be awesome, because I'm not going to say this community is fragmented, because it's not. It's actually a pretty tight-knit community, especially compared to other communities that I've seen. And having more in-person stuff would be great, not only because it would prove the point that you do have a group of people who are here united under something that is not religion, but at the same time, it's just fun.
Yeah, it is fun. Yeah, it's people get together because of other reasons, like other than religion. Like there's boys and girls clubs, and I understand a lot of those are like Christian based, but they don't have to be. No, they don't have to be. And there's politics, there's video games, there's
card games,
there's card games, there's so many things that people can connect. Like not everything has to be faith-based. Like
don't get me wrong, religion has the cornerstone on community building, not even gonna lie.
Sure. But
they're not the only ones. I grew up in a card shop. That's how I learned how to socialize, was being in a group of a bunch of other nerds, which I understand it's not the best way of learning how to socialize, is being with a bunch of other antisocial people. But being a nerd in that group and being able to play card games with people, that's how I learned how to socialize. And that's why anytime somebody tries to say that you can't have a community without religion is really great for building communities. Sure, it is. It's not the only thing. Like I have literally right here on my desk is my Weiss deck, because me and Pam started playing that again recently, and my Yu-Gi-Oh deck is right down there. And that's also something that I do on the weekends when I have the ability to. And then there's also this guy, because if anybody has been to a Smash Brothers tournament at all, that is one of the those are some of the most tightly knit competitive communities.
I've watched YouTube stuff on that, because I love Smash. I love Smash.
I am a huge fan of Smash. Who's your main? Now that we're on that topic, who is your main?
My main's Zelda.
Zelda. From which one?
Brawl, but I still play her in this one. But
Smash
Brawl
4?
was, yeah.
She was arguably much better in Brawl because the game was more floaty and it was more ideal to her playstyle. Din's firing people from half the map away because they couldn't get to the ground fast enough.
Yeah,
is just absolutely lovely. One of my friends was a Zelda main during the Brawl era because he was able to Din's fire people out of the sky. Also, Frustrated Atheist, you're asking what side of Georgia I am on. I am in northern Georgia. I'm not going to give exact city for reasons obvious.
What's the coordinates?
So if you want to send the hammer missiles here, oh god, they hit.
Oh god,
no. But I will say two things as far as what I've seen in the chat. One, Frustrated Atheist, if you want to know exactly where I am, my Twitter DMs are always open, so you can figure that out there. And if you happen to be close enough for us to hang out, I would love to. That would be awesome. And then as far as Chrismer, if you used to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And you used to love it, I would highly suggest playing GOAT format. Go look it up. It is wonderful. It is a nice boxed up 2006 Yu-Gi-Oh! Retro format that has a huge following. And it is absolutely wonderful. The more that Konami screws up their game, the more people are moving over to GOAT format as a good alternative to continue playing the game without investing money into the game. So I would say those, based on what I've seen in the chat, those would be the two things that I definitely would like to address.
Awesome. And I don't know if anyone here or if you plays the Pokemon trading card game, but that's the one that I have decks for.
I used to play. I was only maybe like a year and a half ago. I was playing Quad Lapras for a little bit. Which I really enjoyed Quad Lapras, by the way, because I started out trying to play Waterbox and then realized that Waterbox is fun, but beating people with just Lapras GX is even more fun.
That's pretty awesome.
It was great. And then during that time, I also played Passimian because that was a good budget deck you could build at the time.
What was it you said?
Passimian.
Okay.
What you would do, Passimian had an ability that did you paid one, or you used one fighting energy, and it would deal 30 damage for every Passimian in your bench plus 30 base damage. So it was supposed to be that a Passimian would hit for 120, and then as it died, the Passimians would get progressively weaker. That's not how the deck played, though. The deck played with a Mew, and it used the Mew, and the Mew was able to use any attack from a Pokemon on your bench. So you would just attack with Mew, and you would hit with Passimians. And because Passimian was a normal type, it was super easy to search with every type of Pokeball. So obviously you ran Quad Ultra Balls, because at the time Versus Seeker was a card, so everybody ran Quad Ultra Ball. So you ran Quad Ultra Ball and a couple of Quick Balls and everything you could in order to get Passimians out onto your bench turn 1 or 2, if at all possible. And then you just played Mew and beat the opponent with Mew repeatedly. And it had a very high win percent because most decks at that time that weren't freaking Vileplume, and you're smiling, and that upsets me.
I didn't use Vileplume. I'm just...
What did you play? What did you play in that format? This determines if we keep our friendship.
Ooh. No,
there are two decks you can say that will upset me.
I have a few different things. Like, I didn't look anything up to find out what's good. I just collected cards and oh, this is cool.
Oh, see, I was playing in a competitive format, so decks.
Yeah, I did not.
Decks have names to me.
Gotcha. No, so I have a pretty cool normal / psychic deck, and then there was a normal and electric deck that I played, but I like normal a lot. And the one that I have right now that's working really well for me is I have a Pidgeot EX, 2 of those Mews that you were talking about with Versatile, a really cool Dragonite, and a Snorlax GX. Oh, and my normal not EX GX kind of thing is my my Porygon Z that I have in every deck. I love my Porygon.
Well, I will say this: I did just recently start up a gaming channel on my secondary channel, and one thing that I want to do on there is I want to start having live streams where me and other people in the Atheist, Skeptic, and even the religious community, because I think one of the things I want to point out is that we can all get along, at least in some regards.
But we're people and we get along?
Yeah, I know, right? Weird. But I got the idea because originally it was I don't know what I want to do on this gaming channel. It's just it's just going to be a bad gaming channel. I'll have it for shits and giggles later on down the road. But I got the idea because me and anybody who's familiar with JMD Apologetics at all, he's not super prolific, but he is friendly with a lot of other people in the skeptic community, Steve, Shannon, etc. I found out that he was a huge fan of Pokemon, and he challenged me online on a browser-based Pokemon battle simulator. And so we did a Generation 2 OU best of 3, basically, and did that for a little bit and shot the shit for an hour, and then realized, oh, wait a minute, this is what I should be doing on my gaming channel. I should be doing things within the same community, but just the gaming stuff that I can't host on my channel. Natja Witness says, do I name my decks the same way I name my deck? Well, see, the thing, Natja, is that I don't actually name my decks because when I play a card game, I study its competitive meta, and I learn what the names that the community accepts for those decks are. And then even if I modify the deck, I will still accept its original name, just with its modifications. So, for instance, if I'm playing GOAT format, I understand that the deck I'm playing, whether it's revolving around Dark Magician, which would make me bad, or if it's revolving around Kaiku, it's still just going to be called Spellcaster Stun or Spellcaster Control. If I'm playing the deck that Chrismer is apparently talking about, we would call that Chaos. No matter what flavor, it would still be Chaos. He says I should have seen his deck. It had both Envoy on the end and Envoy at the beginning. It was basically a card removal white and black dragon deck. Yes, we call that Chaos.
Yeah.
That's what those cards were meant to be. Chaos Sorcerer, Envoy at the end, Envoy at the beginning. They are considered the Chaos cards from the Invasion of Chaos set. And that is still the competitive name that is used for those decks no matter what.
Gotcha. See, now when I play any game that I kind of play semi-competitively, I can't say competitively because you actually play more competitively. Like I don't really do the research into it. Like Smash. Like I'm actually pretty good at Smash Brothers. But if you find someone who likes to exploit the game mechanics, I'm just like, fuck.
Do you still have your copy of Smash 4?
No, I actually sold it to a friend. I could get it back, but
do you have it on 3DS or do you have it on Wii U?
Wii.
Okay. Then I suggest, if you can get it back, even if only for a day, I would challenge you to a game of Smash, and we can stream it live if you have the equipment to do so. If not, I will gladly just point this camera to the TV like the lowest quality channel I am and do that.
Yeah, I could do that at some point, or I could just buy a new one. But yeah, because I still have the Wii U, and I have Smash for the Wii U. Can you play Switch and Wii U together?
Well, the Smash game for the Switch isn't out yet, so I would be playing you with Smash on the Wii U. Because I still have my copy of it, and I don't play it right now, but I need to play it again. Also, Chrismer, I will point something out to you. First of all, let's see here. Where is it? Because I'm going to pull this up for Chrismer because he needs it desperately. Where are we? Aha! Boom. Do you have links enabled? Nope. No. Okay.
How do I get them enabled?
Well, you can post it. I can't post it apparently. So if you can post that to Chrismer so that he has access to that, because now I need to play Chrismer in a children's card game. And that is the article that explains what GOAT format is and how it functions that will allow me and Chrismer to play against each other.
There we go. Cool. I don't have the chat up on the computer, so I'm gonna send it to over DM real quick.
Okay, that's fine. That'll work. That'll work.
Message.
That is one thing I'd like to do, is have games with the community that I can do on that channel for giggles anytime that somebody wants to do something. Otherwise, I can obviously just game by myself during times, and that's fine too. But I do want to try to do things within both communities on that channel. Chrismer is a scurd.
I see that.
He is very a scurd.
Hey, Chrismer, why don't you DM me, because I'm not seeing you on my Twitter right now. So if you DM me and open that message, then I'll go ahead and send you a link.
See, and Not just says, this is why you shouldn't learn my social cues from nerds. I take a joke and I answer all serious like, you're 100% right. Thank you for proving my point. But yeah, Chrismer, that is the introduction to the format itself that is there. And then if you go, there's a website called Dueling Book that will allow you to build a GOAT format deck. It actually has a separate area specifically for GOAT format players where we play on there. And you can get random people to play against you, or you can play against people that you know. It'll do either one of them, but it's online. It's browser-based, so you don't download crap. It's just all there. So yeah, options for playing children's card games because we are adults and am good adult.
Oh, yep. There's nothing wrong with being a big kid as an adult.
Oh, yeah.
I just threw that in the description box, actually, too. So,
okay.
There we go.
That's there.
Yeah. All right, so now back to the Bible. You're not getting away from it.
Oh, boy. My favorite.
So
I can't wait.
I can probably take it on good faith that you believed in Noah's flood, and you believe that it was the whole world that was flooded.
Oh, yeah.
Backing it up just a little bit to Adam and Eve, did you believe that it was specifically an apple that Eve ate and then brought that apple to Adam, or what was your take there? Was it all very...
I thought the fruit looked like an apple, though I wouldn't say it was an apple. I would say it looked very much like an apple. Because apparently I could see 6,400 years into the past and knew shit like that.
Yeah, I mean, I was just about to ask, were you there?
Were you there?
But
if there was a global flood, we would expect to see dead things and rock layers all around the world. What do we see? We see dead things and rock layers all around the world.
That was a pretty good Ken Ham, actually.
Excellent, Ken Ham. You've convinced us. You've convinced us. I am out of tea, actually. I am depressed about that.
I'm very sorry.
It's all ice. Nothing but ice.
Well, if you were down in hell.
It's a solid thing of ice, actually. Yes, if I was in hell, I would be very remiss to not have this ice. I would desperately want this ice. I would want the love of God, which is ice cold, which ideally is what you want in a God that will commit genocide amongst thousands of infants.
What's better than being cool? All right, so I have a question for you.
Sure.
As you being a Christian, so when God created the heavens and the earth and like the whole 6-day creation thing, and then he made Adam, and then he made Eve, then they had kids. They were the only people on the earth, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So
I didn't know what a Lilith was.
Neither did I until relatively recently. But so who did Adam and Eve's kids procreate with?
Oh, the people of Nod, obviously.
Where did they come from?
Oh, God.
God?
God done it.
So when did he make them?
Oh, it doesn't say anywhere in the Bible where he made them, but I'm pretty sure he found a way.
Maybe he just clicked his fingers when
All right, Adam, I made you out of clay. All right, Eve, I made you out of a rib. And the people of Nod, I just jacked off on a random city. Boom.
But the city was there.
The city was already there. It was intelligently designed for them.
No, I didn't know what to do with that city.
It was intelligently designed. Yes.
You know what? I made it just in case because I didn't think the Garden of Eden thing was going to work out.
Yeah. Speaking of the Garden of Eden, as a child, I desperately wanted to go on an exposition one day and find the Garden of Eden.
Mm-hmm.
And just like, I wanted to like worship at the feet, or not worship at the feet, but like worship at the area where the flaming sword was that was keeping people from getting into the garden. Because apparently when you're looking at a giant expanse of woods that was supposed to keep the entire human population, apparently when looking at that giant expanse of woods, a single flaming sword is going to keep everybody from coming out from all angles.
Yeah. I like how Not Witness just said half-assed from the start.
If it were so good, why did he need to wipe them all out a few times and then threaten to do it again? He done a shit job, if you ask me.
But I want my own planet, says Christine.
I want my own planet. When I die, God's gonna give me a planet.
Now, when I first heard this, I just kind of like in one ear, out the other. But Robin Williams said during his live on Broadway show, could God saying, let there be light be just like allegory for the expansion, the Big Bang? And he's like, no, God just went click. And I thought that was really funny, but I didn't take it as any kind of indicator.
And now
then later on, I'm like, oh yeah.
And now when you look back on it, you're like, oh wait a minute.
God damn, I love that, man.
Strong.
Yeah, the stupid was so strong.
Oh yeah, when talking with Landon, I don't remember his last name. He's a good friend of Steve McRae. He's one of the people who thinks he's one of the smartest guys in the world, and I think he's pretty damn smart too. But when he was asked what was one of the smartest people he ever sat across from and had a conversation with, he said Robin Williams was one of the smartest people he ever met. And I was like, damn. I mean, that kind of makes sense, because to be a good comedian, you do have to have quick wit. Incredibly quick wit, and quick wit is generally a sign of at least a type of intelligence. So it makes sense.
That's what I think. And I told my mom that one time, and she's like, no, you can be pretty stupid and be a comedian. I think she was just upset ahead of someone.
I don't think she understands that a good comedian is good at two things. One, they're very good at their wit. And two, they're incredibly good at economics, because they've managed to create a job where they are able to do what we're doing right now, making people laugh. Well, you're doing most of that. I'm actually pretty damn bad at it, but they're able to do it much better than I am. And they've managed to make that not only consistent, which consistently making people laugh is kind of hard, because there's almost 8 billion of us on the planet, and we've all got a different comedic taste. Yep. Some darker than others. I'm still digesting my baby from this morning.
I like a little tint.
A little tint. I really don't like a lot of tint. I think the pure white, specifically vegan babies, are excellent.
I feel like that's what Stephen Woodford prefers as well. The vegan babies.
Is that how he manages to keep that luscious hair that he has?
I think so.
Every baby he eats grows another inch onto it.
Yeah. Yeah. Aaron Ra the same way.
Yeah. Well, Aaron doesn't eat bacon anymore. So.
Yeah. Did I say Aaron?
You said Aaron.
Oh God.
He would be totally upset with you.
Fuck my life.
I will let him
I can't believe I even said that.
I will let him know that you said that when he appears on my channel this Wednesday.
Oh, don't do it. Don't do it.
I'm kidding.
I don't think he knows who I am yet. Don't ruin it.
I don't even know who I am. I talk to philosophers all day. I don't know who I am, what I am, or fuck if I am.
I can't believe I said Aaron. I'm just gonna kick myself all night.
We were talking about Pokemon.
I'm a 2nd degree black belt, so I'm really gonna kick myself.
Yeah, we were talking about Pokemon, and remember that a goddamn motherfucking Aggron is the best Pokemon in the game.
Is it?
Have you seen that meme? It's a picture.
I don't keep up on memes.
It's old, 8 years old. But it's hold on, let me pull it up real quick.
I'm further behind than I thought.
Hold on, let's see. Aha! All right, we're gonna do a thing. We're gonna do a thing. Let me see. Aggron is Aggron is a stone. Let's see if I can find it that way. If I see the video with it, I just don't see the actual picture. Aha! Here we are. Okay, now I need to do a Google search to find a higher resolution version of this image, because fuck if I'm using one that's 500 by... Oh, that might be the only option I have. Fine. Oh, whatever. Whatever. We'll make this work. This will be fine. I'll just pull this right into my pictures, and I will pull it right up. All right. So now here we are, and we're going to screen present, and we're gonna have fun.
Okay.
We're gonna have fun. All right. Awesome. So can you see?
Yeah.
So what's your favorite Pokemon? Fuck you, nobody cares, because it sure as shit isn't as awesome as this here Aggron. Look at this bad motherfucker. Aggron is basically what you'd get if you put steel plating on a dinosaur. And what trainer wouldn't want steel plating on a dinosaur? Check this shit out. Aggron's got only a steel type, but he's also a rock type. Those are like two of the most badass types in the game. This guy's got tougher than diamond skin. Diamonds are a girl's best friend? Fuck that shit. Get your bitch an Aggron for her birthday. She'll suck your dick on the spot. Guaranteed.
That's lovely. Now the way you read that reminds me of Dragonite.
Well, actually good.
What?
I was,
like 3
I
or
was
4
going.
Dragonites?
I think so.
Gets his dick sucked forever, Dragonite.
I was going for Power Thirst, actually.
That reminded me of Power. I love Power Thirst.
What's up?
We need to watch the new episodes of Steven Universe because I cried and I think you'll cry. And we need.
Okay. We have a weekend ahead of us. We will do so. Are you okay, Pam?
I'm not okay.
Well, the stream is wondering where you are. And you
Hi,
are
Pam.
wearing pants.
You're right. For once, I am wearing Dalo pants.
You are. I can do this now. Aha. Now, you should be able to be heard.
Hi, Pam.
Hi.
This is Matt Clark.
Hi, Mac. How you doing?
Hi. Good. How
He
are
has
you?
EVs behind him, too.
We have lots.
Yeah,
of
check
EVs.
this out. There you go.
We have
EV
lots of
price.
EVs.
Oh yeah, there's more. Oh my goodness.
We have everyone except Sylveon, which we're planning on getting here soon.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a Sylveon at the Walmart down the street from me.
Cry. We have to get them from a place in a mall called.
No, we don't, because they're $20 there, and I just realized what we're using our Amazon balance on.
Ding 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 ding
You
ding.
just need to find the other ones that we do not have there.
Umbreon is over there.
You need
In
to
the
bring.
couch
You need to bring them
somewhere.
here. And,
I need it now.
well, we only need the one EV, because your EV has its eyes closed.
My EV has the happy face.
Yes. Also, Charisma realized if he ever had me on my channel, we would only talk about games all night and forget about the fact that he's an ex-Mormon. We would. We definitely would.
Isn't that what you do on every you just kind of forget what the
Also, Christmas, I'm sorry, but fuck your gluten-free babies.
Why would you fuck gluten-free babies?
I told him to. I wouldn't do it.
They're
He's an
so
ex-Mormon.
rough.
Not that ex-Mormons do that. Sorry, Steve McRae, if you ever watch my channel again.
I actually find Umbreon, so I brought you the next best thing.
But he's not even colored like Umbreon.
Imagine that
He is
the
colored,
white is yellow.
Can I say that?
What?
I said he is colored, though. Can I say that?
You can. See,
We actually have so we each named one of our cats. We have 4 cats. We have Nymphia, Blackie, Hylia, and Gigi. Blackie is supposed to be named Umbreon, but he was named by our roommate.
and he used the Japanese name for Umbreon, which is Blackie.
Yeah, the black.
And,
the
and
Japanese
Nymphia,
translation is black.
and Nymphia was the Japanese name for.
Sylveon. So we have Sylveon,
Ah.
Umbreon, and then Hylia from Legend of Zelda, who turned out to be a boy. So Zelda is in fact a boy, guys.
Guys. What if Zelda was a girl?
What? I used to have 2 bearded dragons, and I named
love
them
dragons. They're
Mario and
Lizards.
Luigi. And then we found out that Mario was Maria. So I had to fix that.
So, did you fix it by renaming, or did you fix it by fixing the lizard? Because that's cool.
Gender. No, I went ahead and just
What
renamed
in the
it.
world was that?
I dropped your laptop.
Actually,
I'm sorry.
Why did you drop the laptop?
because I found all of the EVs that we have.
Understandable, but the
It was on the couch. I moved a pillow. It dropped. There's all our EVs.
What about Umbreon?
It's there.
Oh, okay. Okay? So we are still missing. I need a Vaporeon plush.
Well, we have shiny Vaporeon in the room, but
Well, that's shiny Vaporeon. I need blue Vaporeon. Okay, well, my house keys don't count.
There we go.
there we go.
Your wife said hi, Pam.
Hey, baby, how you doing today?
Was that Nacho Witness?
No, this is snarky. Not just nobody's wife.
Not just my bitch. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Have you let him know this?
Wait, I thought he was my bitch. God damn it, Nacha, you whore.
He's a bitch whore. Damn it.
Natja, I told you that Dr. Gaiman was a bad influence. Why? Why did you not listen when we told you that frickin' Dr. Gaiman was not good for you?
Ugh.
Hey, I get around.
I tried to watch those videos. I'm like, you know what? I think I'm gonna go back to red pill religion.
What are you talking about? There's nothing wrong with what the teachers are doing to us. Freaking, you just feel like the dirt just like fall off of you when you hear Gaiman.
Yeah.
He's got so many videos too.
Is he still making videos?
Yes.
I'm glad I wasn't sure of that.
Hello, Blackie.
This is the darkness, also known as Umbreon.
Very cute.
He is
literally like
he's all black and fat.
And whenever he lays like this on my chest, he spreads his legs.
So, Chrismer, I'm going to let you know that Scapegoat plus DNA surgery plus polymerization is wonderful. I can tell you a faster way to get that 5-headed dragon out in the same format. It's called Any State in the Game with Any Dragon Deck. Play 1 Dragon's Mirror. You now have 5-headed dragon. You don't have to go through all of that. Stop torturing yourself. BT Dubs, Scapegoat, and DNA surgery still only gets you 4 of the dragons. So you still have to have one creature on the field. So, no. You're hurting yourself. It's time to stop.
I wish we had a clock so I could just bring it up. It's time to stop.
What are you doing, Hylia? What are you doing? So when I got my tripod for my phone, because I was planning on using this for streaming, and I'm still needing to.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
For some reason, they also sent me a selfie stick, which I never plan on using. Then I found out that the lanyard at the bottom of the selfie stick makes for an absolutely wonderful cat toy that I can use at long distances.
And I'm just going to kind of show you guys what's going on, right? Like, he has the cat down here, just kind of swiping at it. Normally, we have a couple of mattresses that block the sound from the kitchen. So, like, we have the cats up there. And so he'll just stick the lanyard up there and play with the cats while sitting at his computer during work.
Like so. Gigi. Do you see it? Do you see it, Gigi? Do you want it?
Oh, is that Calca?
No, she's a tortoiseshell.
She's a tortoiseshell Turkish Ran.
Yep.
Cool.
She is the one that actually has the Umbreon colors because she is black with yellow pigments.
But she's named after Gigi, like good game. Gigi.
Actually, she was named after Gigi from the Hayao Miyazaki film, Kiki's Delivery Service. But
we in this household don't recognize that because fuck his ex-girlfriend. We recognize.
Can
it as
we
Gigi.
not fuck my ex-girlfriend? That would be great. Thanks.
You know what? I'm okay with that.
Blackie just tried to go for he tried to go for it, and instead he dropped it down. So now we just have 2 cats up there that don't know what they're doing. That's what happens on any time I'm on a stream. It's just oh look, the conversation moved on to my cats.
It was about time.
Like I walk into the room and everybody's like, "Oh, Pam, get on stream." So I'm like, "Okay, let me grab all of my cats and bring them over."
Yep.
My children.
Cats.
They don't dance, do they?
No.
No,
Not on their own.
No, they can if we, give them incentive that is also one of these guys. He's just staring at it. He just wants it so badly.
Hi,
Leah. Mrs. Snarky says cats rule the internet.
They do. No sync monsters. He had a couple of great ones in the Chaos deck. Well, see, here's the thing, Chrismer, about Synchro Monsters. I love Synchro format. I love Synchro Monsters. I also love Xyz Monsters. But I've learned that Konami has really bastardized that game lately. So I play Goat format because it's the only highly supported retro format, and I still enjoy it. And in Goat format, none of that shit exists. In Goat format, you got fusions. That's it.
Much simpler?
I wouldn't say it's simpler. The more I play Goat and the more I realize I don't know about it, the more I realize that Goat is basically Yu-Gi-Oh! Chess, where the game itself doesn't change, but the amount of moves and possibilities are nigh infinite. And the more you know, the more you realize you don't know. Whereas in modern day Yu-Gi-Oh!, even though there's more cards, the only ones that are really relevant are the most powerful, most recent ones. So it's really...
And I've done enough trolling for the day.
Love you.
I love you too.
Nice to meet you, Pam.
Nice to meet you, Mac. Oh wait, I might be able to troll a little bit more.
I'll be able to troll a little bit more?
Oh yeah.
How so? Oh, did you find Nymphia?
I found Nymphia.
She does not want to be held.
She has anxiety and hates social interaction, so me holding her is causing her anxiety.
No.
She's not a big fan.
Nope. But she's got really pretty coloring on her face.
Yup.
See you guys.
See you, Pam.
God, this I went. I don't believe she done. Okay, could I ask for a giant favor since I cannot move?
Depends.
A while ago, I ran out of tea.
Alright, this just became a panda stream. Go ahead, go. I'll answer the questions Mac has. Yes, he's gay. Yes, I'm actually just his roommate. No, he doesn't have a boyfriend. And yes, he thinks you're cute. There we go.
Oh.
Okay, now that you've done that, can I get some tea? This is the woman I've chosen to live the rest of my life with.
There you go.
Every stream.
It's not just the streams you ruin. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. You also ruined my lanes in League.
Not kidding.
So I'm going to take a drink tax, okay?
Okay. How much of a drink tax?
Not just is it like perfect. You answered all my questions.
Best of luck, Pam.
I'm just glad that you think I'm pretty.
Really, it was just Pam projecting. She thinks you're pretty.
Not really. The most pretty thing about this picture is the Espeon that's sitting behind you on the Pokemon poster.
There you go. It's
Sylveon
pretty cool.
was hiding, so I have to go with my second favorite.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I just want someone to think I'm fucking pretty.
I told you, Suris does.
Have a conversation with Mr. Atheist. I guarantee you he'll find something to like about you.
I thought he was gay. Now I know.
I have talked to Jimmy. He's pretty awesome.
I've told
And
him
he's got
many
some
a
pretty
times.
luscious hair.
What's up?
I said, and he has some pretty luscious hair.
I've told him many a time I don't have a working definition for narcissism, but I am friends with him.
And good night, Mrs. Snarky.
And now that we have lost
You're
Iowan and
pretty.
Snarky, well, we lost Snarky, so the stream got a little worse. We lost Iowan, so the stream improved greatly. But where does that sit us as far as Atheist Flashback conversations go? Because we are here and incredibly derailed, but that's fine.
Yeah. Let's see if we can get this back on the tracks. I only have a few more questions because it's really easy for things to fall in line for Old Testament when you have a literal interpretation of the Bible. But something that tends to still be different with most denominations is end times and rapture and prophecies. So I'm interested to see, one, do you believe in rapture, or did you? And how does the whole thing go?
Okay. I will answer this in the best way I know how. I still have the entire Left Behind collection.
Okay. All right.
And I very much took their view, or the Tim LaHaye view of the rapture, was that everything in Revelation was to be taken very literally. That when the rapture happens, souls would leave their bodies, and the bodies would also disappear, and only clothes would be there. Got a funny story for that. And when that happens, the world will go into chaos until Nikolai Carpathia will come and do his Antichrist thing where he gets everybody together and gets the world under a new world order, which really helped when I became a conspiracy theorist, because then, of course, everything just lined up so well with end times prophecy.
Now, who was it you said?
Nikolai Carpathia. He is the Antichrist villain of the Left Behind series.
Okay.
Yes, because the Antichrist in the American series about Christianity's end times must be a Russian.
Perfect.
Of course. However, I took the literal view. Every time a curse or a plague or a trumpet or a book was opened that would cause detriment to humanity, it was not metaphorical. So if it said that locusts with the head of princes and the bodies of horses and the wings of flies and tails of snakes were going, yes, that's a thing. We're going to attack people en masse. That is exactly what was going to happen. If it said that centaurs were going to come out of a book and nobody would be able to see them, but they were able to be seen by Christians and they were going to kick people to death, that was also a thing that was literally going to happen. I'm not making any of these up.
See, this is always a fun topic. Never disappoints. So, well, first, I just want to say, how great would it be if the rapture was just opposite? So, like, all the clothes disappear.
I will say this. As somebody who watches porn.
Oh, you are an atheist.
Yes. I watched it when I was a Christian, too.
Christians don't do it, right?
Clothes are a wonderful thing. Not just because they keep you warm, but also whether you are gay or straight, when you are looking at the gender that you prefer to look at, the wonderful thing about clothes is they do prevent you from seeing the naked body, which allows your imagination to do absolutely wonderful things. And also, there are some clothes, like many lingeries, that look wonderful. So the idea of everybody not having clothes, not a huge fan of. Because one, I like being warm. I mean, I'm fat, but clothes help.
Clothes do help.
But two, you put Pam in a nice black dress, and I am fucking crazy. So no, I like clothes. They're wonderful.
Clothes are nice. I would just, I think I would still rather just people just lose clothes than just disappear and leave the clothes, if I had to choose one. But anyways.
Yeah, but see, if they disappear and leave the clothes, they're gone forever, and you don't have to deal with them. But
right, and then you can just take their Nikes.
Disappear, then they just go make more.
It's true.
I mean, we can make more people, but not the same people.
And so, sometimes that's a good thing.
Yes, when Ken Ham is no longer here, I hope we don't get another one.
Right.
I do not wish.
Let's just imagine we lose Ken Ham, Ken Hovind.
They all get raptured
Man
up.
to Ray Comfort.
G-Man.
Yeah, G-Man.
They all just get raptured up and
Towel.
just go, you know what, God? Keep them. I got 7 years of peace ahead of me. That's
exactly.
Great.
I thought you just said this is going to be hell. It's
like, this just got so much
7 years of heaven.
Chrismer, based on what you've told me, I can only assume that you played Empty Jar. And if that is the case, we're no longer friends. Sorry. I'm not friends with people that play Burn, and I'm not friends with people who play Empty Jar. Thank you. Good night.
I don't even know what those are.
So, to give an example, where is my... I actually have... I have no idea where my actual deck box went. I know where it is. It is in my backpack over there, because we went to get my Pam's computer fixed, and we brought our Yu-Gi-Oh stuff with us. However, I have a easy way of solving this problem right now. So in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh, I don't know if you've ever played it.
I've not.
So, in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh, you have creatures and I'll go ahead and pull out one of the cards in question that our resident Chrismer probably played. So in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh, you have cards like this that will have attack and defense points. And attack and defense points are used to determine who takes damage and loses the game. You have 8,000 life points. You attack people to get their life points lower, and that is how they lose. Now, here's the thing. There are alternative ways to win the game, one of which is assembling the 5 pieces of Exodia. That's just assembling 5 unique cards and getting them in your hand. You win the game that way. Nobody plays Exodia because it's getting 5 unique cards into your hand is ridiculously hard to do. So people don't do it, and even decks that are built around it aren't terribly efficient. However, there are people like Chrismer who go for one of the other ways to win a game, which is cards like Chrismer. Please tell me if you recognize the Nightmarish Abomination in front of you. This is what we would call a jar, and jars are good at one thing: making people draw cards out of their deck, which normally would be good. But when one of the conditions to losing the game is running out of cards in your deck, when your opponent's making you draw too many cards, it stops being a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it becomes a bad thing very quickly. So that is one of the ways. Yes, of course, he knows exactly what Morphing Jar.
Morphing Jar.
Morphing Jar number 2, specifically. Yes. So yes, Empty Jar, its method of winning the game is to make the opponent deck out. It never touches the opponent's life points once. It opts to not do it at all. So your opponent's basically not interacting with you the entire game, and they're just playing on a giant time bomb. Now, granted, I have played Empty Jar once when I was a child. I realized it made me a terrible person, and so I stopped. But yes, there's also another type of deck called Burn, where instead of trying to beat your opponent to death with your monsters, you instead play spell cards. Not unlike... This is not one of these spell cards that does it, but not unlike this guy, Ye Old Book of Moon. Book of Moon does not do burn damage. I did not have access to a terrible card in Reach, so I'm just going to go with Book of Moon. A spell card can be activated, and then it's destroyed, unlike monsters that sit on the field. And spell cards that, say, deal 1,000 damage to the opponent exists. So you would play a deck that's just a bunch of those. So instead of trying to beat your opponent down and actually have a game with them where you're going back and forth, you just drop your hand on the goddamn board and say, that does 1,200 damage, that does 1,600 damage, that does 1,000, that one does 1,200, and that one does 2,000. Oh, look, that makes 8,000 damage. I didn't even play a goddamn game.
Jesus.
No, that's Book of Moon, Chrismer. Book of Life is the yellow-tinted one that brings zombies back to life. Book of Moon is the one that flips cards face down.
You know your games.
Well, I know this game. This one I know, and obviously Chrismer knows it as well.
Yeah.
If it's a game that I'm passionate about, I know it decently well. Even if I'm not super good at it, I still know it as inside and out as I possibly can. Because that's just what I do. When I got heavy into Star Wars, I didn't just go, Star Wars movies are cool. I got into how the movies were produced. I got into reading all the books. I got into, what kind of characters exist in the comic books. What were the design decisions that caused certain characters to get more or less screen time? That's what I do. And it's kind of to my detriment sometimes, because sometimes I get a little too impassioned. Also, Chrismer is telling me he ran a pretty sweet zombie deck, and the card I picked out, Book of Life, unless my eyesight's that bad. Okay, Chrismer, I want to ask you if you can read. That is a Book of Moon, sir. That is not a Book of Life. I can pull out a Book of Life if you'd like me to. But this is not a Book of Life. This is a Book of Moon. Book of Moon is the blue one. Book of Life is the green one. And Book of Taiyu is the red one. This is Book of Moon. And Book of Eclipse is the black one, but that one's new. So.
You guys talk way over my head for card games.
I would highly suggest playing GOAT format as well.
He's all like, sorry, damn, eyesight is that bad. You're right.
Here you go, Chrismer. Here you go, Chrismer. I have the combination of what makes the two decks that I hate, Empty Jar, or two of the decks that I hate, Empty Jar and Burn, Chrismer. Allow me to introduce your best friend, the terrible combination of both of those.
This what jar?
It's a dice jar.
Dice jar.
You flip a coin or you roll a die, and your opponent takes burn damage based on how much you roll. But if you roll a 6, you and the opponent both roll the die, and the person who rolls higher burns the opponent for 500 damage times the roll of the die. But if the person who won happened to roll a 6, they dealt 6,000 damage to the opponent instead. So all their life points but their last 2,000, which can be taken care of with a couple of spell cards. Basically stuff that makes it to where you and your opponent aren't actually playing a game that's interactive. It would be as if you were playing a game of poker with somebody and the opponent just not royal flushed. Fuck, what am I doing? The opponent just won every single game on turn 2, and you just had to accept that. 21, and the opponent had 20 and 21 every single time, and you didn't have control in the matter.
Gotcha.
Yes. So yeah, or in layman's terms, it would be if you, or in Pokemon terms, if you started a game with your opponent, but your opponent started with 1 prize, and you started with 6.
That sounds
there's the reaction.
awful.
Now you understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, Charisma, just so you're aware, the reason I'm able to pull those cards out easily is because I have all of my GOAT format stuff sorted and right next to me. Because whenever I am doing deck modifications, I can just do it right here at my desk. Which is weird that my actual deck isn't here. That's really strange. I feel really awkward and kind of naked without it, but I'm a nerd, so of course I do. Fiend decks that had Wicked Gods, though. You see, I only ever found that one of the Wicked Gods was really that good in Fiends. That was Raviel. The 2 other ones, Uria and Haman, are only really good in spell and trap-centric decks, so yeah, a Fiend deck with Haman was good, or with Uriel was good. Or Raviel was good. Getting lost. Getting lost in all of the nostalgia and all of the names and shit. What's the next topic that's actually on topic?
Back to Revelation.
Macro Evolution?
Revolution. No, Revelation. Do you remember anything about the 7 lampstand?
7 lampstand?
Yeah, I think it's lampstand.
That does not ring a bell.
No. It's the example. It's the P word I'm looking for. Parable. For the 7 churches of the world, and God kind of condemned 5 of them, and 2 were okay. I was wondering if you had any take on that, but if it's not ringing a bell, we can move on.
Yeah, no, that's not ringing a bell. I did remember hearing a lot about the 10 nations of the world.
Okay.
And how the kings of those nations would create a new world order.
Right.
That was in Revelation. But as far as
wasn't that with 7 crowns or something like that?
7 crowns upon 7 heads of the 7-headed dragon.
Hmm.
Yeah, something like that.
Can you go into a little more depth on that?
They basically compared the Antichrist to a dragon, and they said that at one point he would give out multiple crowns to multiple kings who would help him rule the world, but eventually he would kill all of those kings and take their nations and rule them all on his own and wear all the crowns on his multiple heads.
Fun. As you're saying that, I'm like, now, well, wouldn't they realize they're the 7 kings?
Yeah.
When this is happening, be like, shit, he gonna kill us, isn't he?
One of the things that I pointed out on one of my videos before was, wouldn't it be really awkward if somebody who, so if you have there was a part in the end times where the Jews are supposed to run to a particular city to defend themselves and hide, where they will be hidden from the Antichrist for a certain amount of time. And I said, wouldn't it be really inconvenient if the Antichrist read the Bible?
Right? Wouldn't it be odd?
And just prepared for it.
What? I lose at the end?
I lose at the end? Why do I lose? Oh, because God has all this? Well, I guess I need to prove that God's a contradiction, and that'll get him.
Right.
Works so well on the apologist, it has to work on the God.
Yeah. Yeah, it's self-defeating.
Yeah.
Self-defeating.
Yeah.
All right. Well, at this point, I don't have any specific scriptural questions. Is there anything different, as far as you know, about your faith from other faiths around you at the time? Like, was there anything that really stood out for you?
Mine was the only true one.
Oh, right. I mean, oh, really? Wow. Well, I should have like interviewed you first. Got all these other shit ones out of the way.
There's a huge echo. Let me see if I can fix that real quick. Boom. Now is there an echo?
Let's see if there's an. No, I don't hear the echo anymore.
All right, Chrismer, you tell me. You're the one watching the stream. You're the one telling us. Chrismer's like our #1 biggest fan here, not just chiming in once in a while.
Yeah. And you said there were extra books in the Catholic Bible. Now I've heard that too. Does that have anything to do with the Dead Sea Scrolls?
No, it has nothing to do with the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Okay.
They just have five. They just have 5 books that are in their Bible that are not in the Protestant Bible. That's all. The Dead Sea Scrolls themselves are the literature of the Dead Sea Scrolls are like the Gospel of Judas and the Gospel of Jesus are in the Dead Sea Scrolls. Now, granted, I will say the Gospel of Judas is a fascinating topic, because in the Gospel of Judas, it actually shows that I know that the method of Judas's suicide is different in each gospel. But in the Gospel of Judas, it explains why he committed suicide. Because in every other gospel, it says, "Oh, well, Judas committed suicide because he did an evil thing and he forsook his Lord." And in the Gospel of Judas, it's actually shown that Jesus told Judas the plan and said, "You need to sell me to the Pharisees so that I can be crucified for this prophecy." And Judas said, "Okay. What do I do after that?" And Jesus basically said, "Kill yourself so I can see you in heaven faster." So, yeah, the reason that they didn't want to have those in the biblical canon at the Council of Nicaea. But it is weird to me that the Gospel of Jesus, of all things, is not allowed in the Bible.
That's yeah.
We don't. I mean, it's kind of like that person who's just sitting there harping on Levitical law and just going, "Yeah, kill them, kill all of them." And then you just have the guy like, "What about Jesus? Did he teach love?" "We don't talk about what Jesus said. Aren't you a Christian? Shut up."
Yeah, shut up. Yeah, it's funny because I like how Brad Towel likes to point out cherry picking, like it's a fine thing or whatever. But like when we do it, it's like, I mean, we can also cherry pick the Bible. We can just like pick out the bad parts and show you, and then you can, because it's easy. But the thing is, it's all written in there together. It's
yeah. I think the worst part about it is that when you look at the Bible and somebody says, "Oh, you have to take the entire thing in context." Like, okay, so there are some passages I have to take in context, and there are some passages you can take just by themselves. Which ones are which? It was just it's just like when somebody says, "Oh, well, that's just metaphor." Which one is it? Is the passage metaphor, or is it real? Is it metaphor in this context, or is it metaphor in that context? I don't know. I know that when Fucktard SME, sorry, I'm not going to say his name either, of the Blue Pill religiosity group. When he had a thing that he said one time where he was like, "You can easily tell in this scripture that Paul is being sarcastic." And I'm like, I have never heard any part of the Bible being referred to as sarcastic in my life, ever. You are being so liberal with that.
I don't want to make you say it, but I'm not sure which person you're talking about over there.
Well, I will say that he's maximally terrible.
Okay.
Now do you know?
Yep.
Okay, awesome.
I got it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of how he's acted towards a few other people in the community who I do respect, because I do like GE and I do like KC, and the way that he's treated them is really, really fucking dumb.
Yeah, he gets shitty. He gets
really shitty, and like he's nice to me, but I don't know what he says behind my back because I don't watch his channel.
No.
and he's nice to me only in email, and he's only sent me one email, which is asking me if I wanted to do an interview on his channel with him. Yeah, I haven't responded to that, and I don't think I'm going to.
I think I've heard you say that one.
Yeah, I have.
But,
I have the pictures of that email. I'm going to frame them one day, along with my favorite YouTube comments.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, he's such a difficult one to deal with, I guess, in general. Not really argue with, but just kind of pin down and figure out what he's really thinking. Because I feel like he's a little bit all over the place.
Well, that's the thing. He's not thinking.
Right. He's not. Now, who I really not like, I hope not everyone hates me for this, but one person that I really like listening to is Brad Towell. Because now he is, from what I know, he is still supposed to come over to my channel. Because I reached out to him before a lot of this shit happened.
Mm-hmm.
But I really want to talk to him because I like his apologetics because they're so simple.
Bad?
Yeah, they're so bad. They're like, I mean, sure, take it in context. I like that he just defends it how it is, because like that is how it is, more or less, in the Bible. I'm like, I don't have to correct you a lot. You're right. That's why you're wrong.
Yeah. You don't have the conversations where you're just like, actually, that word in Greek meant this, and in the context of the time, it actually had this connotation to these people. And Paul was actually, when Paul said that women should not speak in church, he was actually only referring to these particular people in this particular area because their children were sacrificing babies. Like, you don't have to worry about all that silliness.
Yeah, I don't. And so that really makes him one of my favorite kind of apologetics. Him and Joe the Street Preacher. It's like, no, you know what? Sure, read it in context. You're still wrong.
I need to actually read, or not read, but listen to Joe at some point, because he seems like he would be a fun person to do some debunking on.
Yes,
like,
he is.
Like 10 out of 10, perfect individual to do an old-fashioned skeptic community debunk on, and I will probably do that at some point. So I keep putting off my video about Aquinas' 5 ways. Eventually, I'm going to do that shit, but like, that requires effort.
I have a video in the editor currently, for Joe, and
awesome.
It's part of the Atheists Can't Read Properly.
Atheists can't read.
Yeah. Because a lot of us just released videos, because he has 9 videos on Atheists Can't Read Properly. So we made video responses as Atheists Can Read Properly, ACRP. And Atheist Snail was supposed to help us with it, but she's been MIA for like 2 months now.
There's apparently a story behind that, but I do not know it.
Right.
And I'm not going to seek it out for the time being because I don't think it's my business.
Right.
But I will be very happy when we can see more of Snail coming back.
Me too. Me too.
Like
she's great. And the first episode in that series of the like 9 of us working on these videos was her and I. Mm-hmm. So I was waiting, and then everyone's like, "Hey, we got ours done." And they went ahead and sent them all, which I'm glad, because we didn't need to wait any longer. Like, everyone had these videos ready, but I'm like, oh crap, mine's not done yet. I was waiting because her and I had 1, and then she had 2, and then I had the last one.
Mm-hmm.
So I put mine off, and so I'll be uploading that for anyone who's watching, wondering where mine is. It is in the editor.
It is
just about done, and it's been just about done for a week. So,
yes.
So I'll finish it up and get that. And then as soon as that one's done, I have another one ready to go in the editor. And then I think I'm going to try to record another one tonight or tomorrow that I just about have the script done for. Does anyone have questions? Atheist Flashback questions for him, Krismer. For the time being, because I do need to wrap up soon, because I do need to get ready for work soon.
I believe as far as viewers go, right now we've got Natja and Chrismer. And Chrismer apparently went to go heat up pizza, so there's no more Yukio talk. So I guess that would leave Natja and his luscious locks to have questions.
Them locks.
But I do think, given the time of day that we're at, Natja, the spotlight is on you.
Yes, sir.
What is our last words going to be about before we abandon Chrismer? Come on, Natja. I know you can hear us in the past.
Yeah.
As
it looks like a delay for like 10 seconds for them too.
Yeah, there is a delay, and it makes it kind of awkward. But yeah, we'll definitely be able to see there. I'm pretty sure that in about 3 seconds, aha! Chrismer, there he is. Did our church ever talk about Ashra? No. It was not a topic that was ever brought up.
Mine either.
I don't even know what that is.
I've heard of Ashra, but I do not remember.
Not just says he would have questions.
Hard to know.
It's hard to know what to ask when we chat all the time. It's true. The unfortunate part about when your viewing audience is people who are already actively engaging with other people in the community all the time. Mm-hmm. I'm a new face to the skeptic community at large, like, you know, GC, Logic, and all of them. Like, to them, me and people like Godless Iowan and Natja are like 6 months into this. We're very new, but to each other, we're just friends. At least I consider Natja a friend.
So do I. I mean, he probably doesn't exist, but I mean,
all right, God's wife. You know, the only references to God's wife that I was ever taught in the Bible was that the people of Israel were God's wife, and he was the bridegroom, and he would lift up their skirts, and he would violate them. I wish I was making that up, but those are actual passages in the Old Testament.
There you go. She's out. My fault. I'm your imaginary friend.
No, not just Steve is my imaginary friend. I'm fairly certain you exist.
I love Steve. Love Natja. Love you guys. All right. Well, I am out of questions for you for now. I wish I had more. I feel like I'm just a little bit out of it because I am just super tired today.
Oh, it's
and I'm going to be like up for like 14 more hours. But
it's kind of how I feel when I'm editing a video and then realize that I'm going to be working in this same chair, in the same spot at my job directly afterwards. And then I realized that I literally just screwed myself.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. Well, there's one more thing. There's all sects of Jews that worship Ashra and retain the portions of the Torah that spoke of her. Oh, that's neat. See, now, things that I like about religion is I feel like they're very cultural, because they are. I mean, just like if you try to like look at cultures, like you have to look at the religion that goes along with the culture, and I think it's fun. So like all of the Greek gods and stuff, and the Norse gods, like those are fun stories, and they're fun stories because almost no one believes in them anymore. So it's fun, and I like to think of them like comic book characters, you know. Just thinking that, you know, maybe at one point people just thought they were fun stories, and then they believed in them. It's like maybe like 5,000 years down the road, people are going to think Superman died on the cross. And
for 2 years, Batman died for our sins. He was killed by the opposer, Darkseid. And during that time, we had other Batmen, but they were not our Lord and Savior, Batman. His disciples tried to continue his ministry.
12 follower Batman.
Jason Todd, the second disciple, who was brought back from death, did not carry the ministry correctly. We would call him the zealot of Batmanism. We also had Saint Dick, who was not able to carry on the torch either, because he was known as the Saint of Red Robin Hood at the time. However, we did luckily have Saint Tim Drake, and he was able to carry the mantle with our Lord and Savior's son, Saint Damien, before his unfortunate passing to his evil zealot of a mother. We call her the opposer Al Ghul. Sorry, I actually do enjoy Batman lore, as it were.
Oh yeah, it's awesome, and I'm glad another freaking atheist isn't here, because he would just go on and on about Batman.
I'm guessing
He always gets mad because I'm just like, oh yeah, I love Superman. He's like, nope, wrong answer. I'm like, I like them both, dude. It's okay. He's like, nope, you're wrong. Can't like Superman.
See, I think they're two sides of the same coin. Yeah. Batman is the human trying desperately to live amongst gods, and Superman is the god trying desperately to live amongst humans.
Very yes,
and that's kind of how I view them, and that's why stories with Superman and Batman together are always so compelling, because you have Batman trying everything to live up to Superman, and Superman doing everything to not destroy the world on accident.
Yep. Oops. Exactly.
Yes.
Dr. Obvious, does Satan have free will?
Well, of course he had free will, technically speaking, kind of. He had enough free will to say that he was more vain than God, and he thought he was more beautiful than God, and he took a bunch of angels out. But he didn't have free will, because God is omniscient, and having a single omniscient being automatically negates free will. So it was all just part of God's plan.
Right, and look at the end times. He's destined to lose.
Yes.
So it's just the whole free will thing is just a big old problem in the Bible.
Christmas is like more of a Green Lanterns fan. Chrismer, who is your favorite Green Lantern of the Earth?
Hal Jordan, Guy Gardner, John Stewart.
John Stewart's mine. I'm a John Stewart guy.
That's awesome. I think I like Hal Jordan the best, but I really do like John Stewart.
I think I like John Stewart mainly because he's the Green Lantern I grew up with, and Hal Jordan is the Green Lantern that other people grew up with, and so they like a lot of Hal Jordan, and I'm just like, I really like John Stewart because the Justice League TV show is awesome.
Mm-hmm. And then there's Wally, but see, I like Barry Allen a little more, and Hal Jordan, and they're best friends, and I kind of like that Silver Age shit. Then I also like a Saint Walker. I love the Blue Lanterns. He's really cool.
I think
Kyle Rayner, he said.
I think the Lantern Corps is one of the more involved DC comic streams because it goes into so many different avenues that other DC don't. Because obviously with Batman you have the Rogues Gallery and you get really heavy into the Rogues Gallery, and with Superman, let's be honest, Superman's big thing is let's make the bigger thing that can beat Superman down harder. That's the whole idea behind Doomsday. Is every time you kill Doomsday, he's going to come back even worse, and you can't kill him the same way you did the last time. That's literally just, let's make a villain that Superman has to beat in a different way each time. That's literally just a writer trying to get out of a corner. That's why I find most of Superman's villains not terribly compelling, except Darkseid and Brainiac a little bit, though. I'm more of a fan of Darkseid and Superman's Rogue Gallery.
Yeah. Yeah, I can appreciate that. I mean, the Rogue Gallery is cool, and like Batman has so many like good villains. This is like just where all the good villains of DC come from.
Yes.
And like Superman, like you said, he has so many, and they just get more and more and more powerful or whatever. But there's not many that really just stick out and like stay with you. Like there's Zod, but he was in a movie. Or two now, and then
I will find him.
There.
Sorry, that's my favorite. My favorite line from that movie is just that terribly acted. I will find him. Okay,
I
Zod.
will.
I'm gonna take a picture of like Prophet of Zod and just have him saying that.
Maybe put him in a little Phantom Zone glass.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah, I think that
Send
with
it to me.
Superman villains, I like Brainiac because of the dichotomy between the Kryptonians and Brainiac. And I like not Doomsday. I like Darkseid because one of my favorite lines from Darkseid was when Superman beat him down on his own turf and his own planet, and left him for dead. And he basically told all the people that Darkseid has subjugated, "Hey, you guys are free." They lifted Darkseid above their heads and took him to an infirmary. And as Darkseid is being taken away, he says, "On your planet, Superman, I am a threat. But on my planet, I am a god." Yep. And that was one of the things that stuck with me with Darkseid. And I was like, you're the Superman villain I like. That is excellent.
It is, yeah. It's pretty cool. I really do like that.
But I think that we are definitely encroaching on the time you should be getting to work at this point.
Yeah, it's getting pretty close.
Starting
to like, and then this Larfleeze. All right, we're gonna have to pick up the superhero talk another time because I will go for the rest of the night.
Fair enough.
Cool. Well, again, thank you for coming to my channel. It was really fun to actually get to talk to you one-on-one. I think we've talked for a moment or two on a couple other streams, but it was nice to actually get a one-on-one. This was very fun, at least for me. I hope it was for you.
It was for me.
But great. Cool. Well, whenever I get a superhero chat going, I'll definitely send you a link and let you know when that's happening. Is there anything else you'd like to say? Do you want to plug your channel? Or
well, like I said at the beginning of the stream, my channel is Suris The Skeptic. Anybody who's seen my channel already knows that typically I hide behind a cartoon avatar because I have moobs. So if you guys want to go see my content, go do so. If you're watching on this channel, however, and you have not subscribed to Mac, please promptly get your head out of your butthole so you can actually see the subscribe button and click it.
Appreciate it. Yeah, like and subscribe.
like and subscribe to Godless Iowan.
Also him.
Seriously, do so. Like, me and Iowan go at it a lot, but like, he's a wonderful person.
Oh yeah,
I enjoy him greatly.
Yeah, this community wouldn't be the same without him.
It wouldn't. Just remember, we've got the Atheist roast happening on Tuesday at the Geek Room.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Yep. Everybody was given everybody that was in that particular roast, because they're going to have more than one, but this is the first one. Everybody who is in this particular roast was given a person that they had to roast. Cyberjar plus Spear Cretin. Sorry, Chrismer, we can't be friends. Also, instead of Cyberjar plus Spear Cretin, it is Cyberjar plus Shallow Grave. It's much faster. Shallow Grave doesn't use your normal summon, Chrismer. Come on. Get your head out of your butt.
If you guys have a Yu-Gi-Oh bout, I feel like you're going to win.
I think we're going to have it on my gaming channel. Just have a live Yu-Gi-Oh bout, GOAT format, retro style Yu-Gi-Oh fight.
There you go.
But so
yeah, the roast.
In the roast, everybody's given somebody they have to roast. So for me, I have to roast the Godless Iowan, and Iowan has to roast me. Natja has to roast Jimmy, and Jimmy has to roast Natja. Shannon Q is roasting Prophet of Zod.
Okay, now I did hear about that. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so that's on Tuesday then.
That is on Tuesday on the Geek Room. Definitely go watch when that happens. I will be in the live chat if I can manage to. It's going to be a fun time.
Do you know around what time that is?
Let us see here. I believe I had it here. Devil's Let Us Hang Out. Where are... I do not know off the top of my head when it's going to be, because I cannot find the actual post from the Geek Room about it. Let me instead, I'm just going to go to messages. I'm just going to click on Frankie's photo, and and I'm going to look at all of his stuff. Next Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, the Atheist Roast Battle will premiere. Cap Brony versus Unholy Mole, Mr. Atheist versus Notja, me versus Iowan, Jackson Wheat versus Tony Reed, Shannon Q versus Prophet of Zod, and Godless Engineer versus Paulogia.
Very fun. That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm going to miss it though, because I'll be teaching classes at that time.
And I will be working at that time because I get off work at 8 EDT. So I'm going to be listening in, and that's about the best I'll be able to do.
That sucks.
Well, it is what it is.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I have thoroughly enjoyed my time here, Mac. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for coming. I really appreciate it. So hopefully we'll have you again here sometime soon. And until then, I'll be watching you on the channel.
All righty. Awesome.
All right. Thank you, chat, for chiming in. Even Christmer for derailing the conversation the whole time.
Even Christmer.
And Natja, even though you might not exist because you live in a upside down world.
Nah, he just lives in the area of the flat earth that's not real.
Yeah.
And I will go ahead and do my sign off now because I don't want to do it too late. I'm just going to go ahead and.
All right. And everyone, thanks for coming. You guys have a good night, and we'll see you in the next one.